On January 6, 2021, I was getting ready for opening day at the Arizona legislature when I came across Samantha Guthrie live streaming on YouTube that the U.S. Capitol was under attack by Stop the Steal's Trump supporters who disagreed with the 2020 elections. I couldn't believe my eyes as I watched insurrectionists scaling the walls of the Capitol and running down the hallway while droves of rioters still were arriving at the Capitol. Earlier in the day, I had seen photographs of Arizona State Representatives Mark Fincham and Anthony Kern at the Trump rally and in the Capitol area. The day began with a presidential rally and a big speech. But I was terrified at how that day was going to end when I saw elected officials cower beneath their desks and then run to safety. I'm glad you're still here, Representative Grijalva. It was just terrifying for us to watch. When they made the decision to come back and certify the election, even though it might not have been totally safe, I admired their bravery, but I had scenes of Designated Survivor when the Capitol blew up on TV in my head saying, "Please save our country." January 6th was horrifying, but as an Arizona legislator, it is obvious to me how we got here as a country. The Arizona legislature has been ground zero for Stop the Steal, and several representatives and senators have been fanning the flames of misinformation in hopes of derailing a free and fair election. In November 2020, Republican lawmakers Mark Fincham, Brett Roberts, Nancy Bartow, Leo Biasucci, David Cook, Kelly Townsend, David Gowan, Sonny Borelli, and Sylvia Allen all met in an unauthorized meeting to hear witnesses who claimed that they knew that our elections were fraudulent. Who was there in the background? Congressman Paul Gosar and Andy Biggs sitting there with Rudy Giuliani. It was an infamous event that made national headlines, and we watched as this happened. On the same day, just blocks away, Governor Doug Ducey and Secretary of State Katie Hobbs certified the election, as Regina Romero had mentioned. Early in December, just a few days later, the Q shaman and Trump supporters draped in flags rushed into the Arizona House lobby and occupied it until the 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Luckily, DPS and the security guards were able to secure the building so those rioters who showed up in D.C. later didn't ransack the halls of the Arizona House that day. December 3rd was an obvious dry run for January 6th. We must stay vigilant in the state of Arizona as the legislature goes back into session on Monday, just a few days from now. Of all those people that I listed, 7 of the 10 are in office and they will be at the legislature on Monday. They are at the forefront of voter suppression. They led the rally in 2021. We expect more of it in 2022. The Independent Redistricting Commission just handed us maps that are so gerrymandered that this midtown neighborhood, instead of being in a compact and contiguous neighborhood with other Tucson neighborhood, is connected to the border now. The congressional maps are so gerrymandered that Kelly Townsend, yes, voter suppression queen of the legislature, Kelly Townsend from Apache Junction, is running for CD6, which is what's left of Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick's district. Do you want Kelly Townsend as your congressperson? That's what I say. I don't want her as my congressperson either. And also, other stars of voter suppression, Mark Fincham and Shauna Bollock, they're running for Secretary of State. So we are still at ground zero, and we have to watch what these people are doing. As President Biden warned earlier today, our democracy is still in peril. To protect our elections and our rights, Arizona desperately needs the Congress to pass the voting rights legislation in front of them, which has already been mentioned: the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and the Protect Our Democracy Act. As our country and our state, our democracy depends on action and reform. Voters must control the elections and not money and special interest groups. Thank you.